saying men should be dangerous. By dangerous, that implies I should be ready to threaten someone, to hurt somebody.
No, you should be capable of it. There's nothing to you otherwise.
Welcome to the Dangerous Man Podcast, where we talk about how to become a better man, take responsibility for our mission, create value for others, and the many failures and lessons we've learned along the way. Stay dangerous.
Welcome back to the show, The Dangerous Man. I'm your host, Adam Thooft, joined by co-host
John Kostohris.
What's up, John?
How you doing today, Adam?
I'm doing fantastic.
How you doing?
Dude. How you doing? How you doing, man?
Dude, this basement's fresh today, dude. These lights vibing.
Yeah, this studio, man. This basement studio. What a place.
Dude, I'm just honored to be on the show today. Thanks for having me back, Adam.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's not like we do this every time.
Thanks for having me as a guest on my own show.
Yeah, you're not a guest, you're a co-host.
Exactly. I was thinking about this before we started, but I was like, how funny would it be if like I started a different podcast just called the John Kostohris Show, and I had you on as a guest, and then you started a show called the Adam Thooft Show, and then you had me on as a guest, and everyone listening is just like, am I just listening to the Dangerous Man podcast? Like,
that would be really funny.
Anyways, we'll just keep it on this channel, I guess.
That'd be people. Yeah, that'd just be like, so there's three shows, but they're really all the same show because it's just
always the same two
It's
guys.
just Adam and John just talking about stuff. Okay. I mean, we could talk about different topics on one. Like, we could have one where we talk exclusively about food.
Right.
One that we talk exclusively about sleep. And then this one.
Right. We exclusively talk about everything.
Yeah.
I mean, Adam's over there thinking, what are you talking about, John? This is the Adam Thooft Show.
It's like,
okay. I didn't realize that, Adam.
It's like, did you look at the name? It's like, I changed it. No, but
wow.
Anyway, dude, freaking, it's March now.
It is.
Wow.
It is 2024. If you're
Crazy.
listening to this way in the future,
Yeah.
man, I don't know.
So all those people listening in 2030 to this podcast, welcome.
Yeah. Well, welcome back. Back to the future.
Yeah. Thanks for looking back this far. And if you're watching this or listening to this now, when we're right after we're recording it, welcome to you too.
Bro, so 30 years. Or sorry, 2030.
2030,
That's how long? That's
6 years.
6 more years. If we were having this show 6 years from now, 6 years from today, what would have to happen in your life, personally and professionally, for you to feel satisfied with your progress?
Damn. I'm gonna have to. That's a big one right there. That's okay. You just asked me the Dan Sullivan question, didn't you? Okay. Yeah.
Except I doubled it.
You doubled it.
I mean,
because it's 3 years for her.
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, think about it. If we were looking back on this episode now, who would you want Adam to be in the future? I mean, not that we want to compare, but like dreaming wise, like,
wow.
Where do you think you're gonna be? Where do you think you're gonna be in 6 years?
6 years, wealthy, more jacked than I am now. Better in every way. Like, I don't know.
Just
like,
the alpha superior Adam.
Just like me, but like perfected more. that's like the easy answer. Like I could probably go into it deeper and be like, well,
easy answer.
Probably have a wife, maybe kids, maybe not. I don't know. Depends on when I get married.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely gonna have more money. Definitely gonna be like a lot better at like like interpersonal communication. Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna be like insane level at it. And be like super good at leadership. That's just like off the top of my head.
Yeah.
I could probably go way deeper into this, but yeah, that's a really,
I like that you have some things you can fire though, that you're like, this is where I'm going.
Yeah, like I like something that I've realized so much more recently is how extroverted I am.
Oh yeah.
Because they'll be like, dude, why am I sad? And I'll be like, bro, I haven't talked to anyone today. I'm like, I'm out of energy because I haven't talked to anybody.
His resources are depleted.
And it's like, I knew I was extroverted, but like I've been feeling it more recently where it's like, or at least like drawing the connection between my energy level and like how much, and like, well, if I've like talked to a bunch of people, then I'm just feel like amped to like go and do a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
Rather when I'm haven't talked to anybody, I feel like I just need to take a nap.
Yeah. Dang.
So, but yeah, like even today, like I was kind of like sad and I was like, bro, why am I sad? Why do I feel like, I don't want to say depressed because I feel like depression's like, no, I don't want to say it's like a myth, but I feel like depression is just like overblown way too much.
Oh yeah.
Like
Way overhyped.
It's way overhyped, and it honestly, sometimes people try to make it seem cool or sexy when it's depression. Like no one wants that.
Yeah.
Stop being like I'm edgy and sad. Yeah, look at me. Like,
oh, it was diagnosed as depression.
yeah, it's like I got diagnosed with depression.
Oh, so you can be cool and edgy.
I'm edgy
with a label.
Yeah, it's like it's like, bruh, like actually just how about be happy and like actually choose to, you know, enjoy life. It's way better. Trust me, I know both sides.
Yeah, me too.
But like being like sad today was like, oh man, like I feel like maybe I should be better than I am, you know? Like I feel like maybe I'm not taking as much action as I should be. But that's because like the Adam that I was just talking about, that's like the version of myself that's going to be my like who I am at like 2030.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wish I was that guy yesterday.
Yeah.
And because I'm not, that kind of makes me sad, and I'm not necessarily like feeling myself become more that guy like every single day. Even though like I could be I am becoming more of that guy every single day. I know I am because of the, I am taking action in that area. I just sometimes feel like it's not enough. But like, you know, it's like, it's very easy to feel like I should be more jacked than I am. Like literally yesterday I was working out at the gym, and I'm like, one side of me is this guy whose name is Will, who works out same gym as I do. Freaking massive dude. He's probably been like taking it super seriously for 3 years, but like been working out longer than that. Got like massive shoulders. This guy is like, has like, he's like on a bench and doing like single like bicep preacher curls, and he has like the 75-pound weight with like he's like curling like 77.5 pounds. So he has like the 2.5 weight like strapped onto the other one, and he's just like going insane with it. And then on the other side of me is Matt Burke, who I mean is a Super Bowl he's a little bit older now, but like, dude,
this guy's still strong though.
He's still jacked, even though he's like kind of older. But I mean, like the dude won a Super Bowl, so like, and I'm just going like,
this dude like manhandled other dudes on the offensive line for like a career
in the NFL. So like he's gone to war essentially. So it's just like,
and you're just in the middle.
I'm just in the middle. I'm just like, part of me is like, what am I doing here? But also the other part of me is like, this is where I belong. And I'm just like, I was like talking to Will a little bit, and I'm like, bro, what do you hit for shoulders? Because like he doesn't always wear like tank tops and stuff, so he just wears normal shirts. But like yesterday or whatever, he was wearing a tank top, and I'm like just noticing his shoulders a lot bigger, and I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, because the thing is, my rear delts can get bigger. This is a lot of like muscle stuff, but the rear delt is basically that's
part of your shoulder.
It's part of your shoulder, but it's like the more like behind part of your shoulder, but it makes your shoulder look way bigger when it's big.
Interesting.
And he's just like talking about stuff. And he's like, look it up, man. And I'm like, all right, bet. So, but just like having that camaraderie in the gym is really cool. I wish I talked to Matt Burke. I didn't. I was a little intimidated, but
Dude, the guy's doing some really cool stuff.
yeah, like I
Starting
definitely
schools and like, bro, the guy's getting after it.
he's a G for sure.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, also he's like kind of like what, in his 40s, 50s,
Something like that.
something like that. Because I think he played in the NFL in like the early 2000s.
Yeah, I can't exactly remember. Vikings for a lot of seasons, and then the Ravens. For
Yeah, he won the Super Bowl with the Ravens.
Yep. Yep.
But like, I don't know. It's just crazy to think like, oh well, if I compare myself to these guys, then yeah, I'm gonna be like, man, I'm small.
Right.
But if I compare myself to what I looked like in like high school, I'm freaking jacked, dude.
Right.
Like in high school, I probably weighed like 165, 170.
Wow.
Now I'm like 205, 210.
Yeah.
And even from like
With muscle.
of muscle, yeah. Like I probably have like, you know, like
Because you ain't chunky, bro.
no,
I'm
I'm
just
not.
saying.
I'm not chunky. Like I've less belly fat now than I did like probably a year ago, honestly.
Good.
But like even like to a year ago, like I think a year ago I probably weighed about like 190, 195. So since then I've probably put on 10 pounds of muscle or more. So it's like, okay, I've like progressed a lot. And like, yeah, if I'm like comparing myself to an NFL champion, like a Super Bowl champion, like, yeah, I'm probably not, you know, like, but that guy's also been like, he's like, what is his 40s? He's probably been working out for like 30 plus years.
And being in the best shape of his life for like 30 years.
Yeah. And like, I mean, in the NFL, he's like,
years.
well, I mean, when they're in the NFL, they're like bulked, but they're still like jacked. So,
Right.
Like they have like some fat on top of that, but that's just to make them harder to move.
Right. When you're in an O line.
Yeah. But like, dude, it's just crazy to be like, oh, like I have grown a lot, but who am I actually comparing? Am I comparing myself to my past self? Because when I do that, I feel freaking phenomenal. I'm like, I'm growing so much.
Yeah.
And I compare myself to a Super Bowl champion or, you know, another guy who's jacked and has maybe done a little bit of steroids here and there.
But who's counting?
Like maybe, maybe like I'm not like, going like crazy. Like, you know, it's just like, who am I comparing myself to?
Exactly.
And how, like, I think part of it is good because it's like, oh, you know what? I should look and be like, oh, I can actually see like Will's rear delt. That's the muscle that looks like. I should look for that on me and like working that on. So that's like good to know. But also like,
Right. You're learning things by observing.
I'm learning things by observing. But also I can't be like, oh, I should be as jacked as these guys are tomorrow. It's like, well,
Yeah.
no, like these guys have been in the gym for years. Like I've been consistently in the gym for not even a year yet.
Yeah.
So like my fitness journey is just, I'm like, they probably looked at like me at one point.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm earlier in my fitness journey. So that's just like, I guess like with that growth and like that feeling of sadness is one, I think it's comparison, but two, it's also, am I taking the action necessary? This is something that I learned a lot when I was doing door-to-door sales.
Come on.
Was like, you have the three kind of major emotions that you're going to feel is like you're going to be happy. And that's because things are working out. You're getting deals. You're making money. Things are going well. Great. Or you're going to be sad. And you're sad usually because, hey, you're not really making as much money. You're not making deals and whatnot. But really, it's just because you're sad really because you're not doing enough.
Right.
And then there's being absolutely pissed off, being angry as shit. And that's when you're working really hard and you're trying to do all the things, but it's not working out. You're not making like the money. You're not getting the deals, and you feel like it should be working. And that's kind of what pisses you off.
Right.
But in door-to-door sales, I'd rather be pissed than sad. Sad is just like, what was me? Whereas like pissed off, you know, like, hey, if I just keep smashing this thing, then I'm gonna eventually like crush it and get sales.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's interesting too, because like, yeah, I love what you're just like, you're seeing that you're sad and you're looking into that and you're like, what is happening here? And why is that? I think with, well, first of all, I think that's really great. Again, I think with the comparison, another common temptation would just be to compare ourselves to people that are worse than us. And then to be like, well, I'm better than them, to make us feel kind of puffed up, you know?
Yeah.
And I mean, that's a whole nother thing. I think I heard this quote the other day. I think Ed Milet he was talking about a friend of his, and he said something along the lines of, this guy is a sign to me of a man of true strength, because he doesn't posture himself to others to justify like who he is and what his values are.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to prove to anybody that he's like really good. He just literally is just himself. He is not even worried about it. He doesn't have to like flex on people. And I think that's another kind of avenue of comparison, is it can be easy to just like judge and be like, oh, I'm better than them, and make us feel better about ourselves, but we're never actually growing. So it's like we feel justified to be where we're at because we just put others down, but we don't actually like grow ourselves. And I think that's, you know, there's a lot of dangers in comparison. And I think a lot of them it's like, am I looking for a reason to justify staying where I'm at? I think that's what comparison can sometimes happen.
Yeah.
It's like, no, like, actually, you're right. It is hard to grow. And like, it is easy to look at others and go, man, I'm not there. And it is easy, you know, to look at people that are, you know what I mean? It's just like, it's easy to like do that. But it's just like, that's a huge distraction I've found in my life. That's something that I've literally made the decision of like, I'm not going to listen to the voice of fear and doubt and worry. When these things start coming in my life, I'm going to recognize that I'm seeing them in my life, and I'm going to go, nope, I'm not going to listen to that. That is not true. That's not reality.
Mm-hmm.
What is true is that this is something Ed Milet talks a lot about. And you know, this is something that's really been hitting me, is he keeps saying, you belong in your dreams and you were made to do something great with your life. And he like repeats it in every freaking episode. And every time he says it, I like forget that he's ever said it before. And it goes, whoa, like it hits me.
I believe it.
Yeah, I am made for it. But it's like, cause I'm like starting to cry because I'm like, you're right, Ed. And it's just like, it always gets my heartstrings, dude. Like, but it's like, and I think it's like comparison he says it's the thief of joy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I think we find so much joy in the goodness of life and in the goodness of where we're going and the goodness that like we're made for something great. And we can be like, yes, I am. And I'm going towards it. And I'm seeing progress. And I'm looking back and I'm seeing improvement. And when we stop and when we compare, it stops us in our tracks and we get frozen and we get paralyzed in fear and we just start kind of worrying and, oh my gosh, he's here and I could never do it. And all of a sudden it's easy for me to do that. And I've realized I can get in my head a lot.
Yeah, I think it's important to realize and remember when you're out and about, everyone is like on their own journey. Like this is something that I think about when I'm in the gym, because I'm in the gym all the time.
Oh yeah.
Of like, how easy is it to like judge people in the gym of like, oh, that guy's jacked. Oh, like she's doing that exercise weirdly. Okay. Was like, you know, like, but like everyone's at their own,
some of their technique, man.
Yeah. Whatever, you know, like they're all on their own journey. Like one of those people that's doing like a really weird form on an exercise, that it might be their first day in the gym.
Yeah.
Or it could be like them coming back to the gym, or like even second week or first month. I don't know. But like that might be just a person that's just like their win is getting in the gym.
Yeah. They showed up for the first time and are like willing to like take that step.
For them, the hardest machine in the gym is the front door, you know, like,
damn, that's good.
So like when they, you know, when they get in, like, that's kind of like they just kind of show up stimulate their muscles, don't get injured, and leave, and that's like their win.
Yeah.
You know, like they got in the front door. It's like, well, I'm here now. Might as well work out. Whereas like there's some people where it's like, well, if they didn't like do it with proper form, like I'm getting to the point where I'm like, if I'm doing stuff with improper form, like what am I doing? Which is really cool because I'm actually figuring out better form. I'm like, oh, I'm actually supposed to feel, oh, that's what that muscle feels like. You know?
Right.
So like figuring that stuff out is a lot of fun. But like sometimes I do think about some of my interactions that I have in the gym and being like, oh, could I have like had a better conversation there? Could I give better advice? Could I have like said something that would like, you know, would have impacted that person's day a little bit more? Like, cause I know I can be joyful and I know I value people very highly, but like, am I actually like getting that across?
Right. Are they perceiving that?
And like part of me can get down on myself of like, crap. Like I didn't, that social interaction was like a loss. But I'm also like, but I also had that social interaction. Like relax. Like, and one of the mantras that I've actually kind of been using, cause I used to be like, oh, I don't care. Like, I don't give a shit. Like whatever. But the thing is, that's not true. Cause I did care.
Wow.
So now my mantra is, I care too much to give a shit.
Wait, you're gonna have to say that again.
I care too much to give a shit.
Wow.
And that's really just kind of saying I care too much about the important things to give a shit about like the little things, you know?
Dang.
Like I care too much about like trying to build other people up and actually help other people see the potential that they have in their lives and like actually want to make their day better and to like build kind of a community where they actually feel like welcome, even if that community is just like me saying hi to them. I care way more about that than like the little thing of like, oh, I was a little bit awkward there, or oh, like,
oh yeah,
what if they think I like annoyed them a little bit, or like, oh, I you know I didn't put on deodorant, so I might smell bad, like,
wow.
you know, like I'm not worried about like the little things because I don't give a shit. I care too much about the big things to worry about like the little shit that doesn't matter.
Yeah. Not getting caught on that stuff and oh man.
Yeah. So I care too much to give a shit. And I think that's just worked really well because it's like I do care, but also I don't give a shit. It's like kind of the best of both because in a way, like we've talked on this podcast about using dark energy.
Right.
Which that's not like using the dark side of the force. Good, Anakin.
Really?
Good.
You don't remember that episode we did where we talked about how to channel your inner Darth Vader?
Yeah. I mean, I guess I do remember like force choking you, but
right. Yeah. We did a full tutorial walkthrough.
Yeah. How to use Sith powers. No, but that's like when people say bad things about you, when you know, when people say negative things about you, kind of put that in your chip in your shoulder and you use that energy of like, man, screw that guy because he said I could accomplish this. So I'm going to just do this to prove him wrong. That's like negative energy, right? And like use what energy you have. That's what we've talked about before.
Mm-hmm.
But it feels so much better to use positive energy. And the thing with this mantra, I guess, is like, I care too much to give a shit. It's kind of both. Because you do care a lot, but also you don't give a shit.
Whoa.
So
dang. Dude, Adam's just here blowing my mind. This is crazy.
Yeah, this is just kind of what I've been using like in the past like week or so. Cause I'm just like I used to just say I don't give a shit. Like I'm just going to the gym. Don't give a fuck about like what anybody thinks. This is when I originally went to the gym because I'm like, I know I'm freaking skinny, guys. I have to not give a fuck about what anyone else says.
Right.
And just or looks at me or like whatever I'm wearing, or I don't give a shit. I'm just getting in here and freaking getting after it. But
come on.
I do care, you know? And that's kind of it bugged me. So and getting to the point where it's like it's important to care, but to care about the right things, about the big things. So it really just puts it in perspective where it's like, okay, there's like little things like, okay, I could be better at talking to people. but there's only one way I get better at that. And
Talking
that is
to people.
Talking to people. Exactly.
Wow.
So it's like, you have to not give a shit about like the little like awkwardness or whatever in the conversation, where it's like, no, it's like, yeah, I might like kind of talk to people awkwardly in like the sauna. Like I literally asked this guy's name in the sauna because I was like, bro, I can't, like, dude, I was trying to remember this guy's name so hard because I'm good at remembering names now.
Oh yeah.
Which is actually like from another past podcast. I mean, talking about names, I've actually gotten a lot better at talking that or remembering names.
Since then, even.
Yeah, since then. And it's because it's like the self-talk of, I'm good at talking names, of remembering names. But like for some weird reason, I couldn't remember this guy's name, but I could remember that he was like from Kentucky and was in the military and like that like other facts about his life. But I couldn't, and I remembered the conversation we had, but I'm just like, what's his name? So I'm just like, bro, what was your name again? I remember you were like in the military and you're from Kentucky, but so I just brought up what I did have on him because he's like, oh yeah, you remember, because then it's like
they still
he appreciates that I remember that.
Yeah.
But it's just like, okay, then so rather than be like, oh no, like he's gonna be offended if I don't remember his name, but it's like, but I remember this other stuff. So why am I fretting? Like let's just have this conversation. Let's just talk, man. Like I care too much to have that. Like I care about this social interaction and actually being able to talk to people and like trying to build a sense of community more than I'm like, oh no, what if he doesn't like me because like that's some like middle school bullshit where you're like, I'm not gonna have friends because I didn't remember their name. Like,
yeah,
it's like, I mean, there's part of you that's still kind of like, that's stuff that you learned in middle school that's still kind of like holding on or whatever. But,
the childhood trauma.
The childhood trauma. It's so terrible.
I could never be a man because
I forgot this one guy's name, and then he was never friends with me ever again. But like that's not true. Like the guy appreciated that I remembered stuff about him.
It's excellent, man, because we're gonna find opportunities. I'm trying to think of something. There's been opportunities where I've been talking to some different friends and people I know in the last few weeks, and it's like I just know there were certain topics to go into and to bring up and things I was thinking about and things that I knew were important to discuss. And and kind of what I found recently was this like you said, like I can't be so attached to the outcome of how they respond or how this conversation goes or even how I like perform and like, am I going to say it right? Am I going to, this whole idea that like I have to do it perfectly, right? And I have to know exactly what I'm going to say and I'm going to know how they're going to react to it. It's just like, it's just like, wow, like those are the little things that I make these big things out of. But it's like in reality, they like me being willing to put myself out there and to go and like have these conversations and to initiate and to lead, in a conversation or as a man to lead and like to step into those roles, those masculine roles of initiating. That is the big thing that I care about.
Yeah.
And the outcomes and how they respond and how I even come across is the little things. And it's like, I think it's just like we get so caught up in this perfection that we have to have. And in reality, you're right. Like, we need to focus on what's important in life. It's like, I realized this with my dad, excuse me, just like being willing to call him up because I was like, you know what? Like I have a lot of love in my heart for my dad and I want to share that with him.
Yeah.
And just calling him up and just telling him that and talking for a little bit. And it was just like, you know what I mean? Just like, oh, well, what is he going to think? Or, oh, people don't do that. It's just like, no, like I want to live my life today.
Yeah.
I don't want to be like, oh, this isn't who I am. And it's in the future. It's just like today.
Like, well, how do you become that person?
Yeah.
You have to start acting like it.
You do. Yes. And I think I think when we are caught in this sadness loop of life,
yeah,
and I think a lot of that's based off of I'm comparing and my joy is gone and now I'm sad and now I realize like I'm not who I want to be and this and that isn't working out and blah. We stack all of these negative things. We just start stacking them up. It's like each of these things is little and maybe not even real.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just making it up in my head.
Yeah. Completely making
You
it
know,
up.
I'm not good at talking to people. And it's just like,
Or it's like, actually, you are
said
good at,
who? Like,
yeah, it's like, I have a lot of evidence to actually say I'm good at talking to people. I'm just not as good as some people at talking to people.
Right.
Like,
what we do is we stack
Yeah.
these things and they become a big, like, I can't, like, this becomes a wall.
Yeah.
And I can't get over this wall. But it's like, why did I even go down the loop of starting to think of all these negative things and stack them? It's like, really, most of those things don't even fucking matter.
Yeah.
What does, and it's just like, what does matter? That's like, I am meant to do great things. And
Yeah.
what can I do today to better myself?
Yeah.
Read 5 pages of a book.
Mhm.
You know, go
10
for,
pages of a book.
or 10 pages if you're doing 75 hard.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what I mean? Like, stop going to fucking McDonald's and getting McDoubles. That is
Yeah.
such a, like, freshman in high school thing to do.
They don't even taste that good anyway.
Yeah. Like, start eating healthy, start improving yourself. And, like, you know what I mean? Pick one and do it. And I mean, I don't know. I just found so much fruit in, like, you're going to listen to somebody who gives some kind of, like, advice and it excites you, or it's like, oh, I could never do that. It's like, well, the choices you've made in your life, and this is like me talking to myself, the choices I've made in my life and the thoughts I've thought and the types of people I've been around have got me to where I'm at today.
Yeah.
And if I'm not satisfied with where I'm at today, maybe I shouldn't be thinking the thoughts that I've always thought and doing the things that I've always done
Yeah.
and believing the things I've always believed.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to open my mind up and my heart to books and to podcasts and to maybe, like, changing my habits and maybe like actually exercising, and you know what I mean? Like, and for me, I've realized that, and I started reading and I started going to the gym and I started training for a marathon, and, you know, I picked a goal to go after. You know, I decided I was going to start building funnels and get better at funnels because I didn't know how to do that. And I started reading books on that and watching YouTube videos. And it's like, and what I realize now is I've changed and I've grown as a person.
Yeah.
And I have skills I didn't have before. And I have life experiences and stories that I didn't have before. But, like, if there aren't changes being made, then we can't actually grow as a human. And so my challenge would be, if you actually aren't satisfied, maybe there are actual, like, maybe you actually need to start thinking different thoughts.
Yeah.
Because the thoughts turn into actions.
Yeah.
And if this is what changed my life. I didn't have new original thoughts. I just had the only ones that I'd already been hearing looping. Yeah. And so what I did was I discovered this book by Grant Cardone called Be Obsessed or Be Average.
Oh yeah. Come on, boy.
Come on. And Adam's read this too. And for the first time, I'm getting these new thoughts that are not mine. And I'm able to start listening and agreeing with those and changing, like, what was going on in my beliefs in my head. And all of a sudden those new thoughts brought new actions and I was getting new results in my life. And I've gradually done that little by little. And 2 years later, I'm a different person.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's not like you're being brainwashed in, like, the negative sense. I mean, maybe your brain was dirty and you did need to give it a little squeaky squeak, a little scrubbery dubbery, you know?
Yep.
Make it
Get on your hands and knees with the toothbrush and
make it, yeah, I don't know. Very clean. I don't know. But
how much more can we drag this out?
But like, you're getting new thoughts from somebody else and you're applying those to your life and to your mental space. And you're not just, like, becoming them.
Right.
Like, granted, you might, like, some things in your life might imitate them a little bit more now. Like, I'm wearing, you know, kind of a beater with a flannel right now, so I kind of look like Alex Hormozy a little bit. I mean, I'm just because it helps me feel jacked too. So,
think jacked thoughts.
Yeah, think big muscles. But like, so maybe you, like, imitate them a little bit, but, like, really you're also growing more into your better version of yourself. Because I think, like, there's this weird thing in society today where it's like, no, you gotta be yourself, man. Like, you gotta You gotta like, no.
You do
You do you. Like that pisses me off so much, dude. You do you. It's like, who the fuck are you? Like, no one knows who they are. Like,
right.
But then I have to go on a venture of self-discovery. it's like, bro, just like, it's just one of those things where it's just, I don't.
This is like the main narrative we often
it's the main narrative where it's like, you have to like you do you. And it's like, but who are you? And you actually have to like figure out like who you are. But like, the thing is like, you already have like some of this, and like people are like, oh, experiment a lot. It's like, well, actually just try to take what you already have and make it better. Like, like that's probably the easiest thing to do, is just take what you have and make it better.
Practice guitar more, become better at it.
Yeah. Or like, oh, I'm interested in like, business or like sales or something. Like, okay, well, read some books on business and sales and,
get better
and maybe like find a better job, or, like, I think it's just like some people will use, like excuses of like, oh, I have to find myself, so I'm gonna go do a bunch of drugs. And it's like, I think you're just kind of escaping from reality. Like, that's not making yourself better. That's like escaping from yourself. Granted, I don't know, maybe you do find yourself. I haven't done drugs. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, I feel like that's kind of placebo at that point. People just say you find yourself when you do drugs, and then you're like, well, that's my reason for doing drugs now. So it sounds good.
I need to come up with an excuse for my behavior.
Right. Yeah. And I know people don't want to hear that, but it's like, but you're right. It's like, actually find, and this is how you become, I guess, how would I put it? This whole find yourself thing, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's like, I think what you were alluding to there, Adam, was find a mentor or somebody doing something at a high level that you respect.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Alex Hormozy in business and sales. Maybe
Grant
it's Grant Cardone. Maybe it's Ed Milet with how he speaks and communicates.
Andy Frisella. These are all guys that we look at. So
read their books, podcasts. And what you're going to do is you're going to end up kind of taking bits and pieces from each person and kind of incorporating it into your life.
Yeah.
Ways you think, kind of ideas, dreams, frameworks, kind of like financial, you're going to start to think and implement what they've learned and built, and it's going to become a part of you. And what you're going to find is, it's like, oh, wait, if it's the same thing like with your music tastes. Like, if I played you a song I wrote, you could probably hear some of some of my favorite musical artists, and go, oh, I kind of hear a little bit of Laney in the melody, and oh, I can kind of hear a little bit of the guitar of the band Camino, and like, you know what I mean?
I mean,
like,
even when we were talking about,
that's how everyone works.
Yeah,
We're always
like when we were talking about like the new Jonas Brothers album. If you're listening to this in 2030, there might be like 8 more of them. I don't know, but
they're kind of like Fast and Furious.
Yeah, something like that. But something's weird going on with my headphones. But
I'm sorry, I don't hear it.
Yeah, well, if you don't hear it, then maybe it's okay.
Yes.
But basically, like when we listen to that album, you're like, oh, this is like, oh, John Bellion helped out with this album, so you can hear some of his John Bellion things, and oh, this is like a Michael Jackson type thing in here, and then it's like, oh yeah, there's definitely like a lot of inspiration, in what's going on in their entire in their process. So being able to understand like what the full process is like, okay, they used people to kind of get to where their point is, but then they also made their own thing with it.
Right.
And
they used the influence of these different musicians.
Yeah.
But they made their own thing with it.
Yeah. And
yep.
With like this whole thing of like why John and I are going on this giant rant of like, this is what is awesome, is because this is what we've been doing in our lives the past 2 years.
Yeah.
Like we wouldn't have started this podcast unless we did this. Like
totally
finding like, well, specifically Grant Cardone, that was kind of like the catalyst. I honestly haven't read a lot of this stuff recently. though I did like go through, well, I mean, read's a strong word. I listened to Be Obsessed or Be Average and the 10X Mentor. But like I haven't listened to as much of his stuff recently, but like who's kind of like
he's
the
kind of
gateway
what
drug, you know?
the gateway. He got us going.
Yeah.
He turns our lives around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been listening to a lot of Ed Milet. He's been the one right now that I've resonated most with. The guy just speaks such passionate truth I love the type of character he has and the kind of heart he has, and it just comes through when he talks. And so like I've been really drawn to that. That's something that I'm trying to incorporate more of into my life. And I've just found like when he just starts going off on these, he just speaks life into like who you are and what you're supposed to do and your purpose. And like he does it in a way that's so moving and convicting for me. And so it's kind of cool to see like that's who, you know, for a while, maybe last year, I was pretty much only listening to like Alex Hormozy. And so it's cool how different guys are going to connect at different seasons, and there's different lessons they have and different things that you take from them. I think that's pretty normal. I think that's pretty natural.
Yeah. But the thing that's really cool, especially about like Ed Milet and whatnot, it's like, I very much get like he cares about the things that are important and not about like the little things. And I think that's what I get from like all of these like $100 million plus guys. Yeah. That are like, $100 million like Alex Hormozy's thing, but like all those guys are worth more than that.
Oh yeah.
So like, you know, like understanding like what all goes into that and like being able to feed off of what they're doing, but also they all like care about the things that matter and don't give a shit about the things that don't matter. And that's
literally
like, and that's what's like so great about like, I care too much to give a shit. Like,
yeah.
And cause it's like, these guys do care. Like, why would Andy Frisella make no money off of his podcast when he could probably make like 7 or 8 figures off of it? Unless he cares. Why, like, you know, like,
right.
Why? I mean, Alex Hormozy too. Like, there's a reason why we don't want to have ads ever on this show is because we're also kind of taking after them a little bit. Because it's like, when I am listening to a podcast and there's ads, it kind of pisses me off.
Yeah.
So it's like, why would I put that on ours? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
It's also like we're not making this podcast so that we're making money off of ads. Like we could care less about that.
Yeah, we have this podcast because we care too much to give a shit.
Yeah. I like that.
Dude, like that's been one of my mantras lately is I care too much to give a shit. Which is just freaking phenomenal. But yeah, dude, like go out there and freaking get it, man. This is what being a dangerous man is about. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
any closing thoughts on that?
Dude, like
let it rip from the heart, man.
For a heart for sure. Like I think some guys think that like men aren't attached to their heart, but go read Wild at Heart and know that, you know, real men, we actually are attached to our hearts because we kind of need those things to pump blood through our body and kind of get us going. Because we care. So go out there and freaking get it and stay dangerous.
Share the show if you want to help other men embrace danger and become truly great. You've been listening to The Dangerous Man. Join us next time. Until then,
claim your greatness
and stay dangerous.
At one point,